actually stream 720p. Hey guys, welcome and hello. We're getting into this nicely fun game. We're going to be spawning directly on top of none other than WhiteRa. WhiteRa, who is quite awesome. WhiteRa, who is the red Protoss. He will be in the bottom left, and he's going to be going up against RobbyG, the green Terran in the top right. This is the European Zotac Cup, and it's going to be a really cool game, and I'm actually really excited for it. RobbyG is actually a stream viewer who was just like, hey, guess I'm going to play WhiteRa. Oh my god. I was like, oh, well, let me cast. And that sounds like so much fun. And he was like, oh, okay. So it's kind of funny just to have that going on, because he was like all hesitant to be cast against WhiteRa, and I'm just laughing because it's just guaranteed to be a fun time. We've already seen some really one-sided games, and Robbie is actually a pretty decent player from everything I can tell. We can see at the very least he's got hand speed, but I mean, whenever anybody goes up against a WhiteRa, it's entirely likely that you will lose. I mean, the only person I've seen that has just been able to just decimate WhiteRa over and over and over again is Stefano, but that's Stefano. Stefano has the ability to do that pretty much against everybody. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to see these interesting games. It's kind of weird to say interesting two times in that, but I mean, it's kind of really fun to see a lot of these complete unknowns going up against the more well-known players, because people can sometimes do crazy things, whether it's ridiculous cheese or they try and play standardly and then surprise you by being just incredibly solid. There's a lot of fun things you can be seeing. Ooh, WhiteRa actually makes a significant mistake and actually gets bring it down to 10 HP. You'll continue to be annoying though. And it's kind of cool just to watch all this stuff happening. And it's also really interesting to hear how my word choice is really not very varied when I'm waking up at 7:30 in the morning after casting for 7 hours yesterday and then having cast solo. So apologies on that one. But we should be seeing WhiteRa going for his next corner. Weird placement too for his buildings. Right now, considering that he's going up against a Terran, he's going near to the wall. That's kind of atypical, and it can actually hurt him defensively. RobbyG attacks here can actually affect WhiteRa's ability to get a good concave. I guess on the flip side, he could actually function as a tank. If he pulls back and some of the rings at the bottom are theoretically attacking the gateway, then they're not hitting the units of WhiteRa, so it may end up being beneficial for him in that respect. But we're having a very fast reactor and a 2 racks going down for RobbyG, so he's going to go ahead and try and be very aggressive against WhiteRa at the start. And if WhiteRa does a 1-gate expand in the purely standard Zealot Stalker way, he could be caught off guard. Unless he's going to cancel the... He's not going to cancel Zealot, go for a faster next. He's going for the Zealot Stalker. But WhiteRa just chronos out some Stalkers. He should actually be okay, or just chrono out Warp Gate or something to get out a faster set of units to deal with the large inflow from Robbie. He should be okay. But let's see what Robbie's going to do to basically pull this off. He could A, go completely all in and pull every single one of his SUVs to do it, or he could just go for an expansion, move in, try and do a little bit of damage, and then expand. However, if he does that, he'll be quite far behind, because WhiteRa, we have now just seen, throwing down his 1-gate expand officially. Now he's got to see what he's going to spend his chrono on and when he's going to get his next set of couple gateways. But now he's going to push forward with his Zealot, and once he sees these Marines, he actually could have an opportunity to get in and see. He does not see... Oh, he doesn't see the barracks, and he's cut with shells is there, and the Marauders are coming along the way. So WhiteRa may just think it's just a reactor barracks, and we are going to see Robbie pulling a few SCVs for this battle. He's probably going to throw down a bunker or a supply depot there. It'll be a supply depot to finish the wall. Now we're going to have this Stalker getting hit. Oh, the concussive shells isn't done. Oh, Robbie just... Oh, concussive shells is done, but he's got to get the vision of the high ground. WhiteRa snaking by, so close to actually losing a Zealot and a Stalker for almost nothing. Alright. Yeah, cancellation on the Nexus. WhiteRa is now going to be throwing down 4 gates to try and defend against this. That's actually really crazy to see WhiteRa canceling that Nexus. I mean, theoretically, you could just try to keep it and just use it as a tank, but we can see Robbie's actually going to completely pull away, which I think is actually the correct decision. Because if Robbie didn't pull back, he's basically guaranteed to be behind. WhiteRa's going to have a flow of units that'll be quite strong, and WhiteRa is going to be able to push out and do a lot of damage. But now Robbie's basically even with WhiteRa. He's got to throw down a command center now, though, otherwise he's going to be actually end up being behind economically, even with WhiteRa actually choosing to cancel that Nexus. If WhiteRa is continuing to produce probes, he's going to be able to transfer to that Nexus quite efficiently. In fact, you could probably send some of those guys down now to increase his efficiency, because as you can see, he is oversaturated on this mineral line. There's the command center down for Robbie, so he's not going to be too far behind from WhiteRa. And with this refinery coming up, Robbie's going to start getting up his tech, going for the factory and the starport. And it's kind of tricky to get up to your starport tech and medevacs when you go for 2 racks, because what do you do in terms of timing? You don't even have 3 barracks out yet. So Robbie's actually choosing to go for his 3rd barracks before his factory or his starport. And actually, he was even going down for a call on supply, because he gets supply blocked and is building some supply depots in different areas. But he knows that he needs all kinds of units that he can to defend against an attack from WhiteRa. But WhiteRa is choosing to just sit back here and stay purely on 4 gates right now. The Robo is almost done, so we'll probably see him tech the Colossus fairly quickly, or at the very least get a few Immortals to get some kind of beefier set of units out. But Robbie's Natural is looking like it could be taken now if he wants to, just lift this off and get an orbital command down here, but he's going to choose to instead build the orbital inside his main, and WhiteRa's Nexus is now done. So both of these players have got their expansions essentially ready, but WhiteRa still ends up mining faster even with the cancellation on his Nexus. Robbie is working again at his factory now, so his medevacs are on the way out within the next couple minutes. So he'll be able to have a nice complement to this Bioforce, and it looks like he wants to be aggressive. Notice though, there's no stim. Without that stim, he's got a little bit of a ways to go in terms of the effectiveness that you can actually get. But WhiteRa's got a pylon over here at the 3rd, which is mainly just there to scout to see if that's going to be the angle of attack from Robbie. But the Stalker's going to retreat because WhiteRa's very good about looking at the mini-map and pulling back in time once he sees aggression coming out from the opponent. But this is a fairly sizable force. There's no attack upgrades or anything, but that's perfectly fine. See, his double starport is actually being started by Robbie. He really doesn't want to get hit by the Colossus off guard, and with this robotics bay done, extended starting, and his Colossus halfway done, WhiteRa's got a nice opportunity to get a good solid tech lead. And Robbie, it looks like he has scanned, he saw that robotics bay, so he knows the Colossi are going to be out very, very quickly, and he's going to be able to get out his Viking count, most likely in time. But we do see that he's actually managing to macro quite well. He's ahead of WhiteRa in terms of the food, and look at the probe difference though. 46 probes to 33 SCVs. That is crazy, but his army is definitely quite strong, and now we're going to watch at the very least 2 medevacs coming out. Probably some Vikings too, because he's got to be really, really careful at the very high yeah, there's a Viking coming out now. The very high Colossus count is going to be hitting him shortly. As WhiteRa is chronoing out the Colossi, and it's got a nice opportunity to go for a big, powerful army. Now we see a Forge, Twilight, and another Forge. So we're going to see WhiteRa all of a sudden going to probably go for either Blink or Charge, along with getting double upgrades as quickly as he can. He's been delayed a little bit, but Robbie has got to get out a set of Vikings out very quickly. I mean, we see how his medevac's coming down now. He may even choose to go for a drought to be, at the very least, a little bit aggressive. But he's macroing out definitely well. He's still ahead of WhiteRa on the food count, and that's pretty much all army count. Because, I mean, think about it. If you take a look at the way that these players have teched up, WhiteRa was forced to cancel his Nexus at his natural, and Rob's been able to get out of fair amounts. But wait, what's with all these Marines over here? Is he just expecting a War Prism play or something from... I mean, WhiteRa is known for doing some very solid War Prism stuff, but I guess Robbie's just looking around for proxy pylons, which is definitely a smart thing to do. I mean, you don't want to get caught off guard by heavy warpins at other places, but WhiteRa is going to be content to just get down his next base up. And if he can probably do that pretty comfortably, but his double upgrades are there. He's basically trying to stay active in the face of possible drops. His Stalkers are moving around here, just being active on the map, making sure that WhiteRa's not going to get caught off guard by a surprise attack moving down here all the way across, trying to circumnavigate the vision of the watchtower. But the Observer does manage to see this entire army and where it is, so WhiteRa's not going to be caught there. The thing is, though, Robbie, I'm kind of worried about him in terms of the upgrade war, because he hasn't gotten any kind of eBays out, so there's no chance of him getting turrets for detection or upgrades at all for his units, and WhiteRa is now really doing a healthy job of getting down his sets of upgrades there. His charge is almost done, so he's going to have a distinct tech and upgrade advantage. Robbie is just getting massive amounts of units and looking more Zerg-like than anything else, considering that he's just getting out a higher and higher lead against WhiteRa. Still only 47 SCVs, though. It's quite a low count considering. But looks like he wants to push out. He does have a nice count of Vikings. And we see he's starting out his double eBay now, but talk about a late double eBay. I said Evo, didn't I? Talk about a late double eBay instead of a double Evo. But we do see a force of Marines getting picked off. That's actually a really bad thing for Robbie. I mean, all of a sudden, the food counts are really getting to be a lot more even. WhiteRa is now 1-1 with his upgrades, and RobbyG is still 0-0, just now beginning his 1-1. So he's actually quite far behind in terms of those upgrades. We see him now getting another set of Vikings out, so he definitely is scared of the Colossi. And rightfully so. Blink is now being started for WhiteRa. He's getting a ton of gateways out, a lot of stalkers on the field, and we got 4 Colossi. That is dangerous. That's quite dangerous. But here we have the Vikings joining the battle. Looks like Robbie stimmed over trying with there. Looks like he's going to go for a drop in the back while he attacks in the front. Very, very standard, solid thing to do. But WhiteRa just has very pretty building placement with the pylons and their organization and everything. Right there we're going to see Robbie going to be plopping down the units down there, but ooh, there's a cannon there, and with only 3 Marines there, this could be an unfortunate battle. Now we've got Zealots going to be streaming in, and this proxy pylon will go down, but there's no other attacks from, oh, I like this. We're going to have a double, almost a triple pronged attack, almost, because this prong never really got off the ground. But WhiteRa's doing a great job being active with his units. Now we're seeing a bunch of charge loss and everything over here, and with the Colossus there as well. Robbie can't really engage here. WhiteRa's evened up the food count now. We're going to watch a single stalker go down, but we've got the Vikings now just happily engaging against the Colossi, but they're actually taking out heavy losses from the stalkers. WhiteRa's positioning himself beautifully. Guardian Shield is up and everything. We're just watching a bunch of death to the bio, and WhiteRa is just being incredibly effective with those Colossus, and now we've got 2 more Vikings just going to be flying over to their deaths, and Robbie, he really does not do that engagement as well as he could have. This drop is completely abandoned, and that is 8 Marines that he would have really liked to have in that army, but WhiteRa is now going to counterattack, and he is in a very commanding spot right now considering, and we're seeing him blinking forward and everything, because this is a small Bioforce trying to move forward to be aggressive, but they're just going to encounter more units, and right now see how Robbie's 1-1 is done. Well, guess what, Robbie? WhiteRa's got 2-2 and is messing up your entire army. Now WhiteRa's got a 60-70 food lead, and that is a terrible spot for anybody. But we see the drop was just completely shut down, and well, this was a fail. GG, good luck. Robbie wishes the GG. WhiteRa will go ahead and be victorious. Solid game by WhiteRa, definitely. And Robbie actually had a few openings in the game, considering where his tech structures and everything were. Sorry, not tech structure, but his army was, sorry. The army strength that he had versus WhiteRa, but WhiteRa just getting better positioning, better Colossus, better pretty much everything. And it allows WhiteRa to go ahead and take that victory quite nicely, but good showing, Robbie. Definitely a good showing.